Hi, my name is Helen, and I am a women's empowerment coach, and I empower women to live in their worthiness. Well, what does that mean? Before I tell you what that means, I want to define what self worth is. Self worth is often confused with self esteem. So, self esteem is how you see yourself, often based on your external achievements, whereas self worth is based on your intrinsic value as a human being. So, self worth is how you value yourself, whereas self esteem is how you see yourself. Now, living in your worthiness starts with cultivating a relationship with yourself that is characterized by valuing you. The foundation for valuing yourself is self love. Now, the qualities of self love that make it possible for you to value you are number one, unconditional love and acceptance of yourself. Two, care and kindness directed towards you. And three, advocating or championing what is possible for you, your potentials. What makes valuing yourself so hard? Well, valuing yourself is so hard because of the wounds we have experienced over the course of our lives, especially our earliest wounds. We are born into this world as a blank slate, and the experiences we have in our first family or our family of origin and the communities form the basis or the template for who we are. Now, remember, as we are growing, our brain is not fully developed to comprehend all the experiences we're having. Now, if the adults in our lives don't help us understand or interpret all of our experiences, we begin to create stories about who we are. So, the job of the adults in our lives when we are young is to interpret all of the experiences we are having in such a way that leaves your self-worth intact. I'll give you an example. When a child does something and a parent reprimands them or puts them on time out, it is so important for that parent to let that child know that the behavior is bad, but you are not. I love you unconditionally. When that doesn't happen, because the child's mind is underdeveloped, the child will begin to create stories about who they are. Now, these faulty stories become the internalized truths about who we are rather than the actual truth, which is our very existence makes us worthy and deserving of, then fill in the blank. So, what do? As with any relationship, it begins with getting to know ourselves. Self-awareness and clarity brings change. And I like to begin this getting to know you process by helping you become aware of your mind and your body connection. Because everything that happens in our brains and our minds is felt by the body because of the highway between the two called the autonomic nervous system. Now, a little bit about the mind-body connection. The mind and the body are designed to function as a cohesive unit. For that to happen, it is so important for us to understand this mind-body connection. And so, for the purposes of what I do, I'm going to use the work of Elizabeth Stanley in her book, Widening the Window. Reading her work really helped me understand this mind-body connection. So, what are the components of the mind-body connection? It includes the brain, the nervous system, neurotransmitters, that's how the brain and the nervous system communicate to one another, the immune system, the endocrine system, your hormone system, and the body. So your organs, your skeletons, your muscles, your fascia, your skin, and all the fluids. So as I mentioned above, the brain was designed to function as a single cohesive unit, with every part of it processing information and protecting us in very unique ways. So what are the parts of the brains? The brain, for the purposes of this, is divided into two: the neocortex, or the thinking brain, and the survival brain, which includes the reptilian and the limbic brain. So the thinking brain is responsible for a couple of things. It's responsible for all the conscious decision making, all the ethical choices, reasoning, abstract and analytical abilities. It allows us to focus, recall, keep in mind, and update all the relevant information, and helps us make decisions. We know that our thinking brain is engaged when we hear this chattering, thinking, comparing, judging, and narration going on in our head. And the way the thinking brain protects us is it anticipates, it analyzes, it deliberates, and then it decides. The way the thinking brain processes information is top down. Okay? So the survival brain, which includes the limbic and the reptilian brain, also called the fast brain, plays a very key role in our emotions, relationships, stress arousal, habits, and basic survival function. This part of our brain processes information from the bottom up. So all our emotions and physiological responses to our experiences, including emotions, physical sensation, our voice, and our tendencies from the body gets processed up. And one of the survival brain's main function is unconsciously scanning the environment, both internal and external, to see opportunities, to assess for safety, pleasure, and danger. And the survival brain's way of protecting us is to move away from danger and towards safety. Now, the survival brain is not verbal, so it can't communicate with us like the thinking brain does. The way it communicates to us is through neurotransmitters and hormones, which then produce physical sensations and emotional cues, which are associated with conditioned impulses. So what that means is the download that I was talking about at the beginning. So the survival brain is linked to the rest of the body via the autonomic nervous system, the highway that I mentioned. And this highway is responsible for stress arousal and recovery. Okay? So now, why is all of this important for you to know? Well, let me give you a little bit of perspective. I wanted to share research done by the National Science Foundation. They published an article which summarized that as human beings, we have around 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. Of all of those thoughts, 80% of them are negative. And 95% of those negative thoughts are repetitive thoughts that we have on a loop. So if everything that we experience in our mind is also felt in the body, wouldn't you want to have some agency over what is going on in your mind and your body? Wouldn't you want to know how to calm the body, transform your inner critic who is responsible for all your negative thoughts into your inner champion? Wouldn't you want to understand your emotions and the messages your body is trying to communicate to you? If this is something that appeals to you, then join me in my program, Tapping into Self-Mastery, where you will learn how to work with your mind and body using EFT tapping. EFT tapping is a marvelous mind-body tool that calms the survival brain down. So in this program, you're going to learn how to calm your physiological fight, flight, freeze, stress response down. You're going to learn how to transform your inner critic into your inner champion. You're going to learn how to stop blocking or ignoring your feelings and actually be with them, listen to what they're telling you, and connect to that innate wisdom that your body is trying to communicate to you. You're going to gain some perspective as to why your emotions are the way they are by looking at some past events that created them. Remember how I told you that sometimes we formulate our identity based on past wounding. Well, I'm going to teach you how to go back to some of those past stories and heal them so that you can begin to create a new story. You're going to gain some perspective and bear witness to your own hurt, to your own loss of time, money, confidence, and shift into self-compassion and the truth that you are absolutely worthy and deserving. And as you do that, you enter this sacred space where you shift into deeper clarity, perspective, and the truth about what you really want. This clarity ignites empowerment energies of desire, passion, enthusiasm, and courage, giving you the certainty and the motivation to be your magnificent, calm, confident, passionate, enthusiastic, courageous, and empowered you. If this is something that appeals to you, click on the link below and join me. Thank you.